Hello, my name is Errity Green and this is Wise Woman Television, and today I am bringing you a pick a card reading on your comeback. So I'm very excited about this one. I think this will be a lot of fun, which is what inspired it. What would be fun? So I very much look forward to sharing this with you today. I thank you for being here, for giving this a watch. If you find that you enjoy it, I encourage you to like, to subscribe, to turn on the bell icon so you get notifications when a new video pops up, so you can return to your commitment to yourself. I do want to let you know that I offer both personal readings as well as coaching programs to support you in your life, in your work, and on your spiritual path. Right now I have a phenomenal program enrolling called Spirit Woman. If you're watching this in live time when this is uploaded, readings are timeless though. It's called Spirit Woman, and it's a year-long coaching community to nurture your true nature and highest potential. So do check out those details below if that calls to you. ErrityGreen.com/spiritwoman. So from here, I will go ahead and place a picture up of your 3 card piles to choose from today. And we will go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Card pile 1. All right, so your comeback. So it almost feels like people may have taken you for a fool at some point, meaning maybe you were sort of wishy-washy or wobbly or taken advantage of or exploited in some way. Perhaps you didn't have a firm or strong sense of healthy ego, being able to stand on your own 2 feet, having your own core pillar here that are your core values and your core desires and your core needs. Perhaps you didn't have a healthy ego, and so you were pushed, pulled in a million different directions, and you ended up in a situation or circumstance or series of conditions, or maybe just a season of your life where you found that you weren't happy. You were dissatisfied, you were unsatisfied. It was unfulfilling for you to continue just to be able only giving to other people, meeting other people's needs but not your own, playing the role but not really living out your true purpose, your true identity, not living true to what you want to do here, not fully expressing yourself, right? So you were just meeting other people's needs, playing the role, going through the motions, doing the things, but you weren't quite fulfilled or true to you because you really didn't have that strong sense of self. You really didn't have that healthy ego. You really didn't have that firm standing within yourself. So a lot of you have a people-pleasing history of wanting to gain approval or love or affection or acceptance through doing the things and saying yes and doing the favors and offering a helping hand. And it's not that there's anything wrong with those things. It's just that when you add them up, and they're out of balance, you're going to find that you're not very fulfilled. You're going to find, again, that you end up in a position of being dissatisfied, unfulfilled, and more or less empty. You kind of look around at your life and ask, well, shoot, is there more? Is this really worth it? And your comeback is all about owning you, doing you, taking care of you, and really honoring your true self, your core sense, your core integrity, your core values, your core desires and needs, your self-expression first and foremost before anyone else or anything. And you're finding that this is the way to be able to truly serve and live an authentic life, a life that can bring happiness, a life that can bring contentment or fulfillment. You're finding that just playing the roles or going along with the motions isn't enough for you anymore. So you are realizing not only where your sense of self now is, because since you're meeting your needs and you're sort of listening to your inner whisper and following your inner desires, you're sort of building this core strength of self. You're kind of putting the layers together. That Maslow's hierarchy, if you've heard of that term, if not, you can Google it, where it's like basic survival needs, and it kind of goes up from there, and eventually or ultimately leads to the top of the pyramid, which is self-realization or self-actualization. But it's like you taking care of you is meeting that first pillar, that bottom part of the pyramid, so you can even move toward those upper layers of really truly expressing yourself and feeling actualized and realized and feeling on purpose. And so you've started meeting your needs, again, listening to what you need, listening to what you want, and just following through on those things. Now, I feel like these are building blocks for you. Obviously, your comeback isn't it's not like you're complete, right? There's no human journey that's complete. We're always ever evolving, refining, tweaking, expanding, adjusting, clearing, releasing. There's so much that we're doing. But for you, your comeback is all about doing you, owning your shit, saying no, having some discernment, having boundaries, having a clear awareness around what you even want. You know, so many people, they don't have an awareness of self or a sense of self. One, because, right, they haven't met those core needs. They haven't done anything with that bottom pyramid, so they can't really go anywhere. They're kind of wishy-washy. They don't even know what they want. They don't even know where they're going. They don't have any clarity on anything. They don't have any focus. They don't have any direction. They're really confused. Now, obviously, this is partly because they've just handed over all their life force energy to other people, right? When we're giving away and doing all the things for everyone else, how could we have clarity about ourselves, right? And so your comeback is all about, you're no longer being played for the fool. You are really owning yourself. You're walking your own path. You're strengthening your healthy sense of ego and really just taking care of you and creating a life that's authentically yours. So your comeback and what happens from here, again, is you continue on this sort of steadfast, persistent, consistent action taking and decision making and choice making that leads you again to this stronger sense of self with every step that you take, with every need that you meet, with every desire you fulfill, with every honoring of yourself that you do. You slowly and surely sort of build not only this core self, but also build toward your bigger dreams, your bigger vision, your self-realization, your self-actualization. It looks like some of you, we have this card here, Pleiades, double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. So for some of you, this is quite literal, and you are meant to be a writer, a visionary, a speaker. You're meant to share your work in the world in some way, build a body of work, share that. Some of you will be a service provider or have an innovative product that you share with people. I'm sharing what's coming to mind or what's coming through. So these may not land for you perfectly, but in some way, I imagine this card does land for you if you've picked card pile 1. But one way or another, you're working toward that bigger vision, that greater potential, that bigger purpose. You've always sort of yearned for or felt like was missing this bigger purpose, this bigger vision. Like you knew you were meant for more, and yet you didn't really experience it in your own life. Like you weren't seeing it for yourself. You weren't feeling it. And you're like, this is interesting because I really thought that there was more for me, you know, and I really thought that I was meant to make a bigger contribution or make a bigger impact in this world, like really leave a footprint here, make my mark. And you were finding that that wasn't the case. And it's part of the reason probably you were unsatisfied and unfulfilled, because this is part of your soul's mission, part of your soul's path, part of your soul's purpose. It was blatantly being overlooked in order to please everybody else. And of course, then get that acceptance and approval that you were seeking. But with this path, your comeback being self-love, okay, this return of self, return of true self, now you're able to actually fulfill these bigger shoes, this bigger role that you have to play in the larger course of history and or the future and or your destiny or the collective destiny. You are moving toward that because you're honoring yourself, because you're honoring your own alignment, because you've expanded into greater self-love, self-knowing, self-awareness, self-honoring. You've now opened this frontier of being able to fulfill your higher purpose. And again, for some of you, it can be quite literally. Some of you are opening a business. Some of you are expanding a current business. Some of you are feeling the call for more self and creative expression. Some of you are being called to write, like we said, an author, a speaker. Some of you, again, might be creating some kind of innovative product or trying to shop that around or get some funding or something like that. And again, whatever your vision is for yourself is what matters, okay? So not every single form is going to come up from me, but primarily the point for card pile 1 is that you're able to step more completely and more fully into your purpose path, into your life's work, into your life's path, what you came here for. Yeah. So there's a couple of things here. So there's this awakening happening for you, and we can say, it says energetic upgrades, a new way of being, integration. And so it feels like for card pile 1, you're finding this sort of lightness or zest or joy for life that maybe you felt was missing for a time. Maybe you sometimes feel like you can tap into that divine consciousness or divine love or divine awareness, kind of tiptoeing on clouds and rainbows and just feeling more alive, a greater sense of well-being, a greater quality of life. you're really enjoying yourself and recognizing this is a true upgrade for you, that energetic upgrade, emotional upgrade, all because you just started taking care of yourself, loving and honoring and aligning with yourself. You're experiencing this greater, it says energetic upgrade, but all around quality of life upgrade, and even, again, that awareness of self. Now, it is interesting, though, that both of these cards have someone sort of floating and or, what do we say, flying toward the cosmos? I'm not really sure. They don't look like they're flying. They sort of like they're hovering, right? So most definitely, I feel like in some ways you guys have also been able to surrender more, ironically, meaning like it's interesting because us being pushed and pulled in 1,000 different directions by people placing their needs on us or their demands on us or whatever it is that they need from us, and we're just fulfilling a role and meeting other people's needs. There's no sense of self there, and that's what happens there is like this sense of martyrdom or sacrifice where it leaves the self incomplete, unfulfilled, feeling unloved, unappreciated, undervalued, invalidated, and just sort of non-existent, like basically invisible, because there really isn't a sense of self there to honor, to see, to value, to appreciate. There's nothing there, right? You're just kind of, meeting the needs and playing the function or the role. And then in this case of you developing this strong sense of self, you have been able to then sort of lean back. Ironically, even though you have a stronger sense of self, you've been able to sort of lean into the arms of spirit more. And again, really just enjoy your life and lean back and let yourself just, trust. It's kind of like when you're on, I'm not getting this sense of like a thrill-seeking kind of roller coaster, like, whoa, but I'm getting that vibe of like you can just lift your hands up and it's that really good, sweet, simple, innocent sense of joy, of letting go, of surrender. You've been able to experience that. And again, it's a spiritual awakening for you. That was the other card, yeah. So you're also, again, because of this ability to surrender and because of this ability to connect more deeply or tap into yourself more strongly, you're really discovering a greater aspect of your spiritual nature. You're really connecting with the greater wholeness that you are. You're connecting with that spark, that inner aliveness, the inner beauty, the soul, the higher self, your true spirit, your true nature, even your highest potential. We saw that coming through. As a result, you're integrating heaven with earth, and you're combining soul and human body and human form. So you are in a position of that spiritual awakening, living more from the soul, living more from your spiritual awareness, really living both sides, really that sort of ideal experience of being a human spiritual being or a spiritual human being on earth. Okay? So yeah, again, I really like this. So a lot of you are spending a lot of time in nature. You're really finding that you connect really well in nature, that you're able to tap into your spiritual nature or your wholeness or your true nature, whatever we want to call it, more or more deeply or more easily. It's more accessible for you in nature. So you're spending a lot of time out in nature. You're spending a lot of time with yourself. Perhaps you're doing your spiritual practices like meditation or prayer or yoga or chanting or whatever, but you're actually turning to your spiritual practices again. They're supporting you to feel more fulfilled, to feel more nourished, to feel more alive, connected, motivated. You're just feeling better and more whole, full, and you have this greater quality of life again, this greater zest for life. And I feel like as a part of your journey, what you've been doing, card pile one, this whole comeback, not only is it this greater spiritual awakening and this greater expansion of self-love, but as a result, you've been able to see how what you were experiencing before was a result of what was happening inside of you at a deeper level. So subconsciously or unconsciously, you were playing out old dynamics or roles or patterns or whatever from childhood or maybe even from before childhood in previous lives. But one way or the other, you were able to see and do the shadow work or the inner work or whatever. You were just able to start seeing more clearly where a lot of these patterns and dynamics and relating patterns were coming from. And as a result, you've been able to clear out a lot of this gunk or junk or history or energy or emotions or beliefs that were really keeping you clinging to an old version of you, again, that was just saying yes and doing all the things and fulfilling all the roles, but not actually taking care of you. And because, you've had this this comeback, this sort of rebirth of the phoenix or whatever, you have a greater perspective or perception of yourself more clearly. You're able to see your history, your past, your pains more clearly, and things are just coming up and out. You have old energies clearing out, and again, you're enjoying the fruits of that labor. You're feeling more alive. You have a greater quality of life, a greater sense of well-being, and your comeback is this greater sense of self-love, this greater spiritual awakening that puts you on the path and course of your greater spiritual destiny / destination that ultimately fulfills your life's path and spiritual purpose here on this planet. So thank you, card pile 1. That is your comeback. If this reading lands for you, I encourage you to like, to subscribe, to press the bell icon so you get notifications from here forward. I do offer both personal readings as well as coaching programs to support you in your life, work, and spiritual path. A spirit woman may call to you. It's enrolling now. You can check that out below or at erritygreen.com/spiritwoman. All right, card pile 2, your comeback. Okay, so I feel like card pile 2, it's not telling me where you came from yet in terms of like when we say comeback, we're kind of assuming you left and now you're coming back. So it's not telling me where you left or what that season looked like just yet. We might get to it, might not. Sometimes the readings focus purely on the intention that we set for the reading, and sometimes they give us more context. We're going to go ahead and dive in. So you're stepping into some kind of path that involves other people. So this could be, I immediately feel some of you just being surrounded by more community, more friendships, greater social network, more in-person connections. These could also be group projects and collaborations, professional associations and collaborations and communities, but otherwise working together with other people toward a common goal or a common vision. Now, for some of you, I do feel like this could be sort of like moving into a commune / community, not the kind that's like cultish and not where you want to go, but the kind that really honors you and your values and what you want. For some of you, again, this is a long-term vision or dream or project that you have been working toward, and now it's seeming like it's coming together. And again, I don't know how this has to do with your comeback, but we will find out, hopefully. But you're moving into an expansion, it feels like, of your path, of your purpose, of what you came here for. And it does have to do with other people, because look at this. We have 2 cards, Collaborative Dreaming and Sisterhood of the Rose, Beauty and Devotion, Priestess, Mystic, Teacher. So for some of you, if you don't relate, now look at all these relationships that are happening through these cards, group, community, sisterhood. However, if you don't relate to that specifically, again, that might only be for I feel like it's a nice chunk of you, a small or a large minority of you, if not half or more of you. See, I try to put estimates on and like Spirit's like, trying to find that exact measurement doesn't matter. But for some of you, your comeback is really owning and filling the role and the shoes of being that priestess, mystic, teacher, of really acting as spiritual teacher, and I feel like this is definitely where we're headed now with the reading, and I'm feeling these energies very strongly. It's like building a community of followers. It's kind of funny because, no one is a follower. Let's first go ahead and say that, because there's no hierarchy or distinction between leader and follower. In truth, everyone's their own leader. And so really, as leaders or teachers, when I say followers, it's really community, and it's really people who really connect with you and understand you and share, again, a common vision. So if it's not a project, and it's not like something like an actual community of friends or a social circle or something like that, I feel like for the remainder of you, this is really about building your community of relationships toward a common goal, a common vision. Maybe you're locking arms with other people, and even if you're not directly connected, like in the same umbrella or in the same company or on the same team, you're sort of locking the sisterhood kind of vibe, where it's like locking arms with the spiritually empowered women of the world to make changes toward this sort of new earth or next chapter of humanity or whatever, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be like a true team. It just could be like team spirit. But all in all, you guys are stepping into an expansion of your community, of your circle, of your network. It could be followers. It could be social media followers. So you really have to connect this to your particular circumstance. But I feel like a lot of you are sort of stepping into the role of spiritual leader, spiritual teacher, where you're becoming known. You're becoming well known. People are respecting and honoring your opinion. People are respecting and honoring your work, your voice, your craft, whatever it is that you're sharing. And you're starting to kind of hit that breakthrough where things just start opening up and blossoming for you. and start really expanding, and there's this ripple effect of like boom, 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 you know, where it's like you kind of go through the motions, you do a lot of things for a long time. Okay, for most of us, we'll work and kind of toil away at something for what feels like forever or a long time to our ego minds, right? And then all of a sudden everything opens up, boom, and it feels like this ripple effect is like, and it just expands and expands and expands. So you're kind of hitting that breakthrough point or that boiling point where everything sort of starts blowing up for you. And again, you start being, you know, more seen, more recognized, well respected, so on and so forth. For some of you, this could be on the path of fame and fortune. I'm not going to say that's for everybody because everyone's going to be on here, oh, they already told me I was going to be famous, what's up? Because again, you know, it has to align with your particular circumstances. If you know that this is what you do and this lands for you, then that's it. If you feel like it's more of a business project or a launch or a social circle thing, then that's relevant too. So you do have to take what is being given here and connect it to your particular circumstances or conditions. But essentially, a lot of you are on the path to fame. A lot of you are on the path to fame, which is very exciting. Card pile two. Oh, I'm having some fun with this one. So, now there are some quote-unquote warnings, which I don't like warnings, and I don't ever mean actual warning like, hey, be scared, live in fear. No, it's saying your circle is growing, your sphere of influence is growing, your star is shining, your star is going to keep on glowing and getting brighter and getting brighter. Now, for those of you who are locking arms with other people, you know, so more of at a distance and just part of a movement or a greater cause or a community, that could be part of this, you know, but I'm also feeling like for some of you, this could be a very successful venture, launch / project. For some of you, you know, just apply it to your circumstance, because I feel like some of you, for this, who this lands for, it's like this project becomes very, very successful, whatever it is that you're moving toward. But again, if you're a spiritual teacher or leader, the success will look a little bit different. So apply it to how, you know, whatever's going on in your world and in your life. However, it's saying, you know, as your star starts shining bright, and as your sphere of influence is growing and your circle starts just booming and everything's blowing up, it's like, make sure you keep your eye on the prize. Keeping your eye on your integrity, on your values, and what you truly want. It can be easy when you have all these opportunities and everything starts opening up and there's this massive breakthrough and everybody knows your name, or at least a lot of people know your name or whatever, where you just start, you know, you can kind of get caught up in the excitement or the thrill, which can sort of lead you astray at times. You know, if we say yes to every opportunity, we're not being true to ourselves or true to our highest alignment or what it is that we truly want. Not every opportunity is for us, right? Not everything that glitters is gold. So continuing to use discernment so that you stay on your path. You know, continuing to use discernment so that you're honoring your own alignment, your heart's desires, right? You're not just now because you can and because it's there, you know, going after every shiny light or shiny object or whatever because now it's easy, right? And because everyone's handing it themselves over or their money over or whatever. Really staying true to yourself, your own alignment, your highest visions for yourself, what it is you truly want, and being true to your integrity, true to your values, knowing when to say no, and staying focused on the task, the vision, the path at hand. You can very, very clearly see exactly what it's saying here, right? Can you see that? Staying focused. Okay, she's staying focused on her, you know, this can be Joy too, but on her creative expression, what she came here to do, her path and purpose. I'm saying her because it's a female figure here, but this is not gender specific, but she's focused on her light, her arrow, her alignment, and everything else is a no. Everything else is a no. So you really want to get clear on that, but your comeback is about success, booming, breakthrough, ripple effect, expansion, recognition, potentially fame, fortune, big opportunities, bubble bursting, things like that. Okay, yeah, so look at this big, bold vision. It starts to come through, starts to come true, starts to come to fruition. That thing that you've dreamt about, worked toward, really believed in, stood behind, backed up, toiled away for, all the things for all this time is starting to burst. And again, I say burst because it felt like for a long time maybe there was stagnance. It felt stagnant or stagnancy, or just like felt like nothing was happening. Things were really still and calm. And then all of a sudden everything blows wide open and you're like, holy moly. And it's cool because people start to see you in the ways that you have always seen yourself. And now I do believe that some of you might have, of course, just like any human, dealt with self-doubt or different insecurities on your path. And as you've grown and maybe even disconnected with yourself or doubted yourself as your path took detours, or things didn't work out as quickly or well as you thought at the time. You know, things weren't really panning out or unfolding in the way that you thought that they were. Things weren't meeting your expectations. So you might have had some of those little dips and hurdles along the way, but you've always known what you were meant for. You always knew what was intended for you. Card pile 2, whether you ever truly admitted it out loud or not, you kind of always knew you would be a big time, or you'd hit the big time, or that you'd be well known, or your name would be known, or that you would write the book or sell the thing or do the thing or whatever it was. You knew what that was all along, even if it was just this teeny tiny voice or this teeny tiny undercurrent that was just subtle and kind of hanging out in the background. You always knew this about yourself. You always knew whatever starts to break open and break through right now and have this giant ripple effect, this big bold vision starts to come true, and other people start to see you in the way that you have seen yourself. And even more interestingly, life starts to reflect back to you all the things that you've put in. So you've put in the work, you've put in the time, you've put in the elbow grease, you've really put your money where your mouth is, and life is starting to reflect that back to you and show you. And it's starting to show you that big vision, that bigger dream. Yeah. So a couple of things here. This comeback, right? This comeback is about stepping into, I'm getting also, we already got the message or the quote unquote warning. It was more of like heeding the advice of just being clear and staying in alignment, staying in integrity, honoring your true path, so on and so forth. I'm also getting that your voice or what your message or what you do might be different from the rest. It might have some resistance. It might bring about haters, we could call that, you know, or trolls, or people who don't understand you. And now for some of you, again, you had self-doubt at different points of your experience, and you gained some self-consciousness or like self-doubt and stuff, you know, over the course of all the work toward this bigger vision. And so there's this message here that as your bubble is bursting and your star is shining and you're growing, first of all, to stay, look at this humble warrior here, this warrior woman. What does it say? Have you answered your deepest calling? Well, your deepest calling is here and you're standing in it. But what else I'm getting from this card is on this path of your greater comeback, as this destiny, this sort of inevitable unfoldment of your path that was always meant to be and is now arising and just right around the corner. We'll see about when in just a second. We'll tune in and see if we can get a win. This bubble will burst. But the thing is, when I go to say that, though, I immediately feel people's subconscious resisting it and getting scared. So if you're that type of person, you have to be really honest with yourself. If it's just going to scare you and then you're going to resist and recoil and self-sabotage and get yourself out of this and kind of ruin it for yourself, which you could never, the opportunity would come around the bend again. But that's the kind of person you are, then don't listen to the timeline. So I'm just honoring that because I felt the subconscious go, you know, for some people. So that's just a side note, but we'll check it on in that. We'll check up with that in a moment, but it's saying that what you have to share or what you stand for might be different from the average or common values. So what you're sharing about may be something that gets the attention of those haters or trolls or people, adversaries, you know, brings about confrontation. It's like you just have to stay true to your path. You don't focus on the haters or the people who are projecting at you or saying the negative things about you or throwing up the dislikes or trying to cancel you or whatever. Not that these things will happen, right? But if you are in a position where you grow to a certain amount, you're going to find that, first of all, if you grow at all, the more you grow, the greater diversity, and the more likely there is a chance of people not liking you, of not understanding you, of not appreciating you, of not valuing you and not validating you. You're going to find that the bigger you go, right? The bigger you grow. And the longer you go, the bigger you grow. And so it's saying, remember, you're not focused on that. You're focused on the good. You're focused on your heart's desires. You're focused on your alignment, the people who are in alignment with you, the community people, people who are on a similar wavelength. All those other voices and all those other naysayers and all that other stuff does not matter. You have to let that fall by the wayside. That's part of the warrior woman. The warrior woman does not fight every battle or war that comes to her. She doesn't. She cannot. She would be battle weary and exhausted and drained and effectively would burn out, and really the success would be for naught, right? So you don't want to fight every battle that comes. And not every confrontation has to become a battle or a war. So the warrior knows, and the humble warrior, like, it knows when it needs to go to war, and it knows when it can let things slide, and when it needs to just stay focused on the path at hand. But your light is shining, your bubble is bursting. Bubble is bursting in a good way, because I just feel like this, this reverberation kind of thing where everything opens up and bursts, and all these sort of this harvest, this bounty, opportunities, people, money, fame, fortune, things like that start breaking through. And obviously that will take that, whatever form of abundance is coming through, it does have to do with touching a lot of lives and building a stronger, bigger community, and so on and so forth. More people hearing your name, a bigger crowd around you, that kind of thing. But your form of abundance is going to be unique to you. So whatever I'm saying here, again, you have to apply to your unique circumstances. But I did want to ask approximately when this might come. So do we have a clarifier card? Let's see if we can get something on when. Let me see if it's 6 months, a year, 6 months. It feels like within the next 6 months, but let's check. Okay, so it's looking like set the intention. If you want it to be closer, you can put in your vote, right? We get to decide. We're co-creators, and it doesn't mean that we always get what we want or in the timeline that we want, but it means we get to put in our vote, and the grand intelligence works with us and all the collective energies to bring that to fruition. And if there are any blocks in the way and stuff, we got to be letting that go and clearing that out. But it's ultimately you, look, who postpones it or enters it. It's you. So you get to decide. Na, 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 na. It's kind of funny. So I feel like it's in the next 6 months, 3 months, 6 months. It feels like for the most of you, sometimes some of you 3, which is really cool. But ultimately, it's going to be up to you. Stepping out of your comfort zone, willingness to say yes to opportunities, yes to new people, things. It's like there's going to be some things come up that's going to require you to take that leap, you to walk through that portal, you to open the door, you to put your money where your mouth is. It's going to require something out of you in many of these cases. One way or another, that is going to bring about this greater bursting, that is this greater success, this big, bold vision. See how in this one she's sort of postponing it and having to stay in her comfort zone, and this one she's walking toward it. It's her inner child just bursting at the seams with joy and its adventure and moving into the light. So it's ultimately going to be up to you, your decisions, your intentions, as well as your saying yes to opportunities and kind of full steam, taking the leap, as opposed to like holding back and recoiling. So it's ultimately going to be up to you. But card pile 2, your comeback is this big, bold vision, is the birth of this greater vision, this calling, this destiny, whatever it is that you've sought, this greater abundance, this greater success. A lot of you, this is going to have to do with a bigger community, greater followers, a greater following, people really connecting to your message and standing behind you and really building a collective / even global movement for some of you. So you will, of course, have to let me know if this happens for you. Do let me know. I'd love to hear your comments. And if you enjoyed this reading, I encourage you to like, to subscribe. Please do share your comments below. Also press the bell icon, and that way you can get notifications when new videos come up. I also offer personal readings as well as coaching programs to support you in your life and your work and your spiritual path. Right now, Spirit Woman is enrolling. It's a year-long community to nurture your true nature and your highest potential. You can check out those details below, and you can also find it at erritygreen.com/spiritwoman. Thank you, card pile 2. Okay, card pile 3. Your comeback, baby. Your comeback. All right. So you're stepping into a new era that is, I'm trying to come up with the words. Let me just show you the card. The Age of Light. You've been training for this for lifetimes. So it felt like to me like the next epoch, that's not how you pronounce it, but epic. The next chapter, this next evolution, this next expansion of your being, expansion of yourself. This rebirth, this reawakening, this, for so many of you, it feels like a rebirth, an expansion, really unveiling yourself, right? If we imagine like a rose, it's sort of kind of finally, right? There's not actually a finally, but just unfurling into all the beauty that you are, all the glory that you are, all the love that you are, just totally firmly standing as yourself, authentically you, and it's like all that you are, this full self-expression, this greater knowing of yourself, this greater comfortability with yourself, this greater awareness of yourself, the good, the bad, the ugly, the strengths, the weaknesses, all of it, and just inviting it all in, embracing it all, just being this really beautiful, integrated, well-rounded being that just owns their perfectly imperfect humanity, their spiritual nature, just truly expressive and honoring, alive, and it just feels so beautiful. I'm like, I don't even know how to give words to this, but this is what you're stepping into. Again, it feels like does feel like a rebirth of some kind. So it's you, and even says what is already within you. So it's you, but it doesn't feel like a spiritual awakening. It's just like a rebirth of you. And that's what I keep getting, is this kind of flower that's wide open and fully blossomed, fully bloomed, totally itself, all of its glory, and just really accepting and loving and knowing of itself. And just really like self-assured, self-possessed, self-honoring, self-loving. And so that's your comeback. We're going to see what else is here, because it does tie into not only this next chapter of your life and your life experience. Gosh, it's a developmental stage in your life. So like we talk about child, maiden, mother, crone energies, and that's what I'm familiar with. Again, my readings aren't gender specific, so you have to apply it to yourself. Perhaps there's a masculine model that talks about something similar. And I think there is. I just don't remember what it is. And so it's like you're stepping from child to maiden, or maiden to mother, or mother to crone. You see what I'm saying? It's like this developmental stage of self that you're now stepping into in a deeper, more integrated, well-rounded, well-connected, loving, honoring way. I'm just really appreciating yourself at such a deep level, and just being able to see the beauty that you are, the beauty that you offer, the contribution you give to the world, just seeing everything with fresh eyes, with renewed perspective, with deeper gratitude, deeper love, deeper honoring, just a really beautiful, integrated version of you that's like combining both yourself with this greater sense of awe, wonder, freedom, bliss, joy, love, honor, integrity, truth, all those things. I might have even said that twice. But this is not only corresponding to your next chapter of you, this is also the chapter that you are supporting to bring about or unfold in the greater collective of humanity. So it feels like with your own evolution, with your own growth, with this own transition into this next chapter, your own rebirth, this is corresponding to or also aligned with the greater rebirth of humanity, or the greater rebirth of Earth, the new age, right? The Earth Keepers, whatever. So you might connect with that at some deep level. Maybe this is a part of your path or part of your purpose. Maybe part of your work is also sharing your work and your message with other people and supporting other people who are in a similar state of being or state of alignment, where you're walking alongside them and working together to bring about this new chapter for humanity, right? And so I'm just getting that that's a really a lighter energy. So much of this feels like your own rebirth, and this greater love and expansion of self-love for yourself that just feels so gentle, but also I really wish I could continue to describe it. I've probably overdone it, but it's just a very special kind of feeling. So these next cards here: birthing a new age, birthing new creations, dreaming a new world into being, right? This self-trust. This feels like such a well-integrated woman. And what's so interesting to me is, and this isn't, I would normally, if I'm going to talk about my offerings, I talk about them in the introduction or after I do a reading, but this feels like Spirit Woman, the archetype or the symbol of a program that I'm now offering. And there's no strings to that. I'm just sharing this with you, that this feels like what that archetype or symbol or woman is, Spirit Woman, where you're really stepping into all that you are, owning your path and purpose, owning your gifts, your creations, your contributions, standing tall, filling your shoes fully, walking forward into whatever it is you intend to share, whatever it is you intend to give, really living and embodying who you are, what you came here for, what you're here to share, what you're here to give, what you're here to do, but really also expanding into every moment and enjoying those moments and just recognizing how precious and delicious and bountiful they are. It's like really tasting life for what it is. Like it's this beautiful, delicious honey that you wouldn't just like scarf down, but like you just deliciously receive it, and that's you in your present moment. You're able to really enjoy each of your moments and sort of expand each of your moments into like an eternal now, and just feels like an experience of enlightenment, honestly, for you, card pile 3. That might be it. Your comeback is an enlightenment and enlightenment. I'm not going to say enlightenment period, because that's setting a really high standard that's likely unrealistic. It could be true for some of you, but we've seen a few of them, right? Jesus, Buddha, I'm sure there were women who were enlightened that just were completely glossed over in the course of history, because of course. But this feels like enlightenment in some way for you, card pile 3, which just, I am in all you see, I'm in awe of that for you. I can't even speak. Speechlessness. And it's so interesting, as card pile 1 was spiritual awakening, card pile 2 was sort of abundance, success, fame, and fortune of some kind, and then card pile 3 is enlightenment of some kind. But it's just, walking very purposefully, really owning, recognizing, honoring your path, your life's work, just seeing your honor and value, wanting to give to others so generously and share from your heart space. It feels like such a deeply aligned and connected feminine energy, but it's also well integrated with both sides. Really just another chapter version, more delicious version of you, your greater potential, truly, that is fully integrating into this human form. And you're really using this vessel, this human experience, and milking it for all that it's worth, and also giving back, because it's like you're both in awe of what you've been given and been able to share, and the gifts that you're here and the gifts that you have. And then it's like you're so in awe of that, and you're also in awe of life itself and what it has to offer and what it gives to you. It's like you're just in awe of all of it, and so you just stand there very powerfully, full self-trust, knowing you're backed by spirit, trusting spirit, really a woman of nature, a woman who's connected to earth and nature. And I feel like what's coming through here is like, this is actually, it could bring some tears to my eyes. Like the new age, it's this kind of embodiment or archetype, and that you're stepping into that. And this is part of where all of the world is headed, where all humans are headed. They're all working toward / endeavoring toward, and we're always forever endeavoring. I always say that, the forever endeavor, because I always say that. I often say that, because there's no destination, there's no end point, end game, done, punctuation, period, boom. There's not that. And I never want to make anyone feel like they're done, journey's over, like you're enlightened, move on. No, that's not the case. We're always evolving. We're always moving toward expanding, ongoing. It's a forevermore journey. And yet, where you are now, or what you're stepping into, this comeback you're stepping into currently, I feel like it's happening now. It's the experience of, we could call it enlightenment, that most humans are working toward themselves, are growing toward, evolving toward, whether they're consciously aware of it or not, whether they're doing the work of it or not. Life happens, evolution happens. It's not something that we can force, but it's also not something that we even have to micromanage or be aware of. It just happens, and you're there, and you are sort of like this. Take a look at that woman in the middle. That's you. And it does bring up emotions in me, because it's just so stinking beautiful. I can't even take it right now. But you're like this symbol of what's possible. This, even like hope, optimism, faith, a reminder of what's possible, a reminder of what humans can be or experience. This epitome of human actualization or self-actualization. I do not want this going to you guys' heads. The good news is, if you're here on the cusp of here or stepping into here, I know it's not going to go to your head. I know that with all of your humility and all of your gratitude, that all of this is just going to, it feels like sand through the fingers. You're going to receive it, enjoy it, lovingly embrace it, and it's come right through the fingers back to earth where it belongs. And so that's what's really beautiful. That was the vision that was also given to me. It's going to make me cry again, because, I might have to take a break. Hold on. Okay, I'm trying to hold it together here. I also try to be real and authentic to the moment, so I don't want to stand here forever and just cry to myself and not be present. But you really are this, what is the term? Like a pioneer in some ways, like one of the first ones. And again, first ones, there could be 1 billion of you, not that you're all watching this, but I'm just saying, one of the pioneers or trailblazers of this new epic, of this new era, of this new chapter. And you are truly embodying this in such a beautiful, deeply integrated, whole, connected way. And it's showing human beings what's possible. They're not even aware of it. They're not going to be looking at you and being like, oh, that's her. That's who she is. That's the female Jesus. And of course, you guys, using female pronouns, because I'm a woman, that's what I relate to, but also because most of my cards have a female embodied woman on there, but these are not gender specific readings. But my point is, people aren't going to be looking at you like, ooh, there she goes. wow, this isn't like that kind of thing. Like everyone knows you're enlightened and you're now this like public figure like Mother Teresa. No, that's not what I'm saying. You know it in your everyday life. It exudes from you. The people next to you start to see and notice something a little bit different. Some of them don't. If they're very unconscious, they're not going to notice, and they're not going to notice much of a difference. They're not even going to know. In fact, you'll probably trigger a lot of people. You'll notice that once you come around, for those that are more unconscious and still living from most of their subconscious drives and impulses and unconscious patterning and stuff, you're primarily going to be triggering humans. So if you're triggering a lot of humans and you're not being well liked and perhaps even being hated on, that's a sure sign that you're definitely into this comeback. But then there will be plenty of people who will also be able to feel what you have to offer. This purity, this purity of being, this purity of soul. There's just this beautiful life-honoring gift that you are just as you are. You are the gift, a life-honoring gift. And this gift is coming through you. You're becoming a vessel for the embodiment of new earth. This next wave, next step of humanity that is connected to earth, spirit, the divine nature, that is connected and integrated with all parts of creation, that truly honors all parts of creation, that honors all voices, all beings, all people, that walks with the will and walks with the will of spirit, walks with the will and the desire of spirit. So let's move on, because we've hardly gotten anywhere, but I just love what you all are stepping into. Yeah, and you know what's so interesting? So some of you might be questioning or curious or whatever. And it's saying you're already doing it. You're already here. There's literally nothing more for you to do. It's what it's reminding me of is an orgasm. Once you get to that point of no return, it just blossoms. And it's like this flower that just blooms into just this beautiful, majestic unfolding that you can't stop, that you can't undo, that you can't, not make happen, or that you can mess up, because you can't. It's like it's happening. You're already doing it. There's nothing more for you to do but just be yourself, to continue to unfurl, unfold, and let these energies kind of come into being through your body vessel. There's this beautiful unfolding of spirit that's happening through you right now, and it's already happening. It's well underway. There's no denying it, refusing it, putting it away, or whatever. Not that you would. For many of you, you probably feel like at a gentle level, I don't mean like entitled, but like it's time and it feels relevant and it feels about right kind of thing. Just like it feels about right when we kind of step into maiden, or it feels about right when we step into the role of mother or crone. It's like, feels about right. And oftentimes, for most people, when they pass on to the great beyond, we'll use the term from the movie Soul, it feels about right. When you're in that passing phase and you're kind of after that, you've kind of left the human body and you've integrated into that next chapter, like the light and so on, you're like, oh, that felt right. Like most people who are dying, they don't feel like it's wrong or it's not time. Now, obviously you're not dying, but my point of all that is, it feels right, and you're already doing it, and it's inevitable. And again, right, there's this great abundance that's coming for you. And so there's a couple things that are coming through this card. This is one of my abundance cards for this deck. It doesn't say that, but that's the energy that comes through for me. It's like, the honey, the nectar, the harvest, the bounty. So that's coming through, just all of nature backing you up, because you're aligned with the will and desire of spirit. Look at this, how in both of these cards, fully connected, fully alive, fully integrated, fully supported, fully nurtured, taken care of, so on and so forth, because you've really leaned into spirit. And now it's almost like, that's what's living through you now. So it's really beautiful. I also feel like you're going to be continued to be given guidance that's going to kind of bring you where you need to go and take you to the places you need to go and the people you need to talk to and the opportunities you need to move toward or say yes to. You're going to be given guidance continually that spirit is going to give you to lead you into your highest path. As a vessel, as a quote unquote, a version of enlightened being, you're now being used by spirit as a tool, as a vessel to do some work here on the planet. And it may look different for many of you. It could take many forms, but you're going to be guided and supported to get to the places you need to go, to speak to the people you need to speak with, to share the message you need to share. So make sure you're following the flow of inspiration and divine wisdom that are going to be taking you to just the right place at just the right time with just the right people, so you can do the work that you came here for. Because spirit can use you a little bit differently than it can use, say, other people who are more unconscious or can't hear the voice of their intuition or don't really align with this, with God or with spirit, and instead follow their own compass and all that stuff. So God really wants to utilize you and use you. And so, make sure you're following through on those inspirations. I feel like I don't even need to say that. This is really just an awareness of, a letting you know of, you're going to be guided to just the right place at just the right time with the right people for things to continue to unfold toward the highest potential, highest outcome for you, for all beings, for the work that you came here to do. Everything is right on time. You came here to be a part of this and to do this work. Yeah. Wow. Keepers of the earth, we keep getting that support. Take a look. I know I've already shown this once. But take a look at this. Each of these cards, the support that's behind you is seriously unfathomable. Look, in every single one of these cards here, every single one of these cards, you are just backed. So much support. Look at her. She's never alone. She's constantly guided. The thing is, you guys, for you guys who are so well connected and kind of stepping into this next phase of development or enlightenment for yourself, you can receive messages. It's even saying with the faith in the process and whatever. If you ever have any confusion, doubt, lack of clarity, uncertainty, just anything like that that feels kind of human or limited or small self relevant or like ego or whatever, pray, ask for support, go outside. It's saying like the animals can even support you. The trees, the wind, the elements, spirit, energy, ether, even, obviously inner intuition, but other people. It's saying like you have support everywhere because you have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, and you have this sort of sixth plus sense. You're able to really connect with all that wants to sort of feed you, guide you, lead you, support you. So if at any point in time you feel alone, misguided, unsure, unclear, ask for the help, receive the help, go out into nature, connect with animals, spend time with animals, connect with the trees, spend time with the trees, get your hands in the dirt, get your body out there, get it moving, connected to earth, connected to nature, connected to spirit. You're being supported on all levels from every single angle. You are never alone. You could never be alone. So some of you may have had an issue or concern with that at times, feeling like you were alone or kind of walking the lone ranger walk. And that could be the case for many of you, especially if you're stepping into a sort of more enlightened version of yourself. Most people do spend a good dark night of the soul or season alone and kind of trudging through the valley of the shadow of death. That's not like a huge energy though. It's really like just tiny thread of energy, because like it's almost like that's irrelevant anymore. But it is saying if there's at any point where you're unclear, feeling unguided, feel like you can't hear the voice of spirit, know you are supported by the wind, the trees, nature, earth, animals. You are constantly being supported at every second from every angle. There's no moment that you aren't supported, that you can't ask for help and receive it, because you will. You are doing the work of God, Great Spirit, Universe, Cosmos, the Great Mother, the Eternal Mother. You're doing that work here, and so you're literally 100% backed with whatever you want to do. You just have to continue to listen to Spirit, wait for the call, and then continue to follow that nudge, follow the flow. Really, your comeback is becoming the divine vessel, the divine embodiment. It's becoming a version of the Divine Mother. It's becoming heaven on earth, Christ consciousness, any one of those terms. And it feels like at the forefront of it, right? But definitely one of the more enlightened versions of what we have here on earth today in terms of human beings and how their consciousness tends to line up. So that's your comeback card, pile 3. I'd really, really, really love to hear your feedback on this, and if it lands for you or resonates for you. Please do share your feedback, like, subscribe, press the bell icon. That way you get notifications when more videos pop up. Of course, I do want to let you know, and I even touched on this in your reading card, pile 3, about Spirit Woman, which is very much aligned with so much of the energy that was there in that pile. Just so incredible, so beautiful, so profound. And you can find more details out about that coaching community that nurtures your true nature and your highest potential at erritygreen.com/spiritwoman. And there's also a link below. Thank you, card pile 3. What a beautiful reading. Take care.